Well, we are in a little bit of a hurry this morning. We got to load up the Yanmar, get it up on the trailer, and put the little John boat on the back. We have a interesting little project right down the road to go tackling. We're going to bring you along for it.
What are you going to do with such a small piece of wood?
Well, we need the little John boat because we have to go out into the pond, but the other day you pointed out that there was a big snake right there beside it, and I figured that it was, you know, it's only probably been here for 6 months. I figure there's probably one under it, so we're not going to use that one. I guess I just got to get closer and find the next one. There it is. There's your buddy. Be free, buddy. It's a black snake, so it's fine. The only thing I'm worried about are their more. Sometimes they like to hide up under the little benches there. There's the, I told you that joker, as long as we get the snake skin. Alright. All the snakes out of here. I don't want to be out in the pond and a snake. Alright, you grab that in over. I think the snake's pretty nice. We have arrived. No more snakes bounced out of the boat. That's always a plus. So here's a little farm pond we got to fix. And my title was going to be, where did my pond go? Because this customer was on vacation. The person watching the farm called her and said the pond had completely drained down. There's a overflow pipe right there, and it had a big hole in it that formed, and it drained the whole entire pond. And it's been down the whole entire time until I get over here to fix it. We had that 4-inch rain, and it's washed a bunch of leaves, I guess, around the clog, or it clogged up the hole in the pipe, and the pond's filled back up. So instead of a title saying help, my pond is empty, now it's help, I got to drain the pond so I can fix the pond. So I'm actually going to bring the old 220 over here because I'm going to rip out majority of this old overflow and put in a new one, and it's just going to be a whole lot faster to dig this old pipe up with the big machine and kind of regrade all this slope right here with that. Plus I'll have the Yanmar to set the new pipe right here as well. So I don't know what's going on with that one, but I'm going to rip majority of that out, put the dirt back in here, pack that back, and then set the new overflow. But today we have to get the Yanmar unloaded, see if we can get a strap tied around that and pull the pipe over, because I don't think I can quite reach it from here. I'll try. If I can get to right here, I might be able to reach out there and pull it over, but we'll see what happens. I don't want to end up with the Yanmar in the pond. have to take the tilt bucket off because we don't need the tilt bucket. Very simple to do. Spin the valve so the thumb works again. Now let's see if I can just happen to reach out there and grab that. I don't know, we'll see. Robert a boat trip. Might just have to come back. Maybe not now. I don't know what the verdict is, but I assume it's draining out. Evidently pipe was on sale when they put that in, because it goes like 250 feet down there, which I may walk down the fence line, and we'll go see how much water's gushing out. But that should get it down at least 4 feet, and that's more than adequate for right now, but I need to get it completely down before I dig that pipe out, which it's broken at the bottom, so we'll see what happens. Well, I can't see the end of the pipe for all the weeds, but according to how fast the water's moving, I'm gonna say we have a full pipe going out. All right, well, I'll probably come back over here this evening, check on it, see what it looks like. We'll see what it looks like later this afternoon. I'll ride back over here, see how it's draining down. Well, that was a lot of water coming out. I put a flag right there to mark the level, so when I put the new overflow in, I can just reference off that, put it back exactly where it was. So this is one of those weird projects where, like I said, there was a failure, but something's got it plugged up, but that was only, you know, something just a little temporary until the leaves rotted and it started leaking again. Coming over here the next day, we're about 30 hours later after I ripped the overflow off yesterday. Looks like the pond's drained down a lot. I was gonna see if I could possibly see the end of it. I need to go down just a little bit more I still see the pipe right there, so take a look at it and see what it looks like. That might be well enough alone that I can just kind of rip it out and leave some water in here. She wasn't too worried about the fish, but yeah, I still see it swirling right there, so it's going to keep going down. So I think I'm going to leave well enough alone, because it's down more than enough for me to put the new overflow in. And I'm going to have the 220 tomorrow. I'm going to bring it over here, so I can just dig down, rip that pipe out, and then create a little cofferdam and block that off. So yeah, I think I'll leave well enough alone and let it keep draining out. You see the flag way up there, that's how much it's gone down, so I'm happy. Well, 220's here. Let's get this unloaded real quick. Well, this is pretty much what the pond looked like the other day when I came and priced it, before we had that big rain. It appears that I did a pretty good job at breaking that off underwater here. Let's walk down here and see what we got. I'll try to finish plugging that up so that if there's any little fishies left, they should maybe survive. She wasn't too worried about it, but I don't see a whole lot left in there anyways. But somewhere in here, I don't know what kind of contraption they put on there. That's why it was slow going, coming out, because it was half collapsed there. But somewhere down there in the bottom, it's broken, and that's why everything drained down. So I got the 220 here. I'm gonna come down here, see if I can throw some dirt up right there to stop that, and start digging this pipe out. As you can tell, that's why I brought that machine, that's a long ways down in the ground. It's just gonna be a whole lot easier to use that machine to dig that pipe up and put the dirt back. Let's see what we're gonna get into. Probably some mud. I feel like this is definitely going to be a topsoil built pond dam. So far it's looking pretty adequate, which the pond wasn't leaking. It was holding water fine until the overflow gave out. Another reason I brought the big machine. See how fast this dirt's gonna cave out? Or cave in, whatever you want to call it. So I'm just trying to dig this out, get to the pipe, pull it out, and then put this back in there. I'll pack it back in there with the bucket, because that's about as good as it looks like it was put in there. This is why I do not put overflows in the bottom of the pond. For this reason right here. They always fail, and then you have to dig through the whole entire pond dam to fix it. ahead and put some of this dirt back while I can reach it. I'll probably end up going home and grabbing the grading bucket because I'm going to have to probably cut some of that out to fix this back, because this is going to be quite the mess. I was not expecting it to be liquid like that, but it is. So I'm going to take the majority of the pipe out through the dam here. Lay this dirt right there, and I'll put the new overflow pipe over here in existing ground that hasn't been dug up, because if you try to put a new pipe over top of this mud, something's going to settle and give out, cause issues. The dirt's getting more packed now. If I dig out at least probably 40 or 50 feet of this, it will, I mean, probably what I've done is more than adequate to stop it from leaking, but I told her I would take it out through the dam, so that's what I'm going to do. Definitely a topsoil dam, but clearly it worked. Which is honestly what a bunch of these old farm ponds are, because that's really all they had. Should have a pipe here pretty soon. There we go. Alright, well, I'm going to keep digging back and ripping more pipe. So I'm getting all this dirt put back in here now. Like I said, I knew I wasn't going to need this machine for a long period of time, but trying to dig all that with the Yanmar would have been an absolute pain, just because it was so deep. Kind of running over this, packing it back in. I'm going to have to dig some dirt from over there to finish that up. I lost some of it, being so wet. Pretty mushy dirt in this pond, but they probably used the dirt that they dug out from it, which is the way a lot of these old ponds are anyway. So there's some pretty good springs in here. She said it's never really had a problem staying full, so if it works, it works. Well, let me get this put back in here and slicked up, tracked in. I'll smash all that pipe. I'll end up having to haul that off. And then I'll go ahead and get the Yanmar set up and dig the new overflow pipe in with that. Well, that tracked back in actually right nicely. So I'm pretty much done with the 220. Only needed it for a couple hours, but that was a lot of heavy digging. Got that done, put back in there. Now I'm going to set up the laser, get the Yanmar, and probably put the new overflow pipe somewhere about right in here. So go ahead and start getting that dug. Well, I'll probably come a little bit farther over, get it more in line with the old ditch that's over there somewhere. All right, let's get that set up. I had to go get some concrete and the batteries died for the laser. Went and got that at lunchtime. I'm gonna take the Yanmar. Got my grade set up for the elevation of the trench I need to dig. I'm gonna move back over here just a little bit onto original ground. Go ahead and start cutting that ditch through here, laying the dirt to the side, and we'll get ready to put our new overflow in today. Well, this afternoon. Well, I got all the pipe in the ditch. Time to cover it up. I'm gonna go up there and start working my way down the hill, covering this up. Well, I actually may start right here and throw a little bit on top of that. Kind of work my way up the hill and pack that in. And I get the jumping jack and pack all that clay in up there at the start of the pipe. Everything's shaping up. Got the pipe put in and covered up. All the concrete put around that. Let that dry overnight. And I'm gonna clean this stuff up here real quick. Take the Volvo. Need to scratch that little hump down right there and slick that up a little bit better. I'm pretty much done with that. I'll call Donnie and see when he wants to move that. It needs to go to a clearing project right down the road. So yeah, let me call him and see maybe we can get that moved in the morning. What a beautiful morning to be working in the country this morning. Nice crisp cool air, beautiful view, and the concrete's dry. So I had one more bag of concrete at the house and went ahead and brought it. I'm just going to dump it around there to get rid of it before it gets moisture in it and turns solid sitting under the shelter. That's dry, so I'm going to go ahead and finish putting that dirt around there and packing that this morning. I did dress that up before I left yesterday. I finished dressing all this up right here as well. Get the equipment over here, run down the road. There's a little landscape yard about a half a mile down the road, get some straw, and come back over here. Go ahead and put my grass seed out and straw this, and this project will be wrapped up. So I got everything finished up with the Yanmar. It's nice that there's a landscape place like a quarter of a mile down the road. Went and got my wheat straw, got some grass seed. I'm gonna go ahead and spread that out and start shaking straw, get all this covered up and wrap this project up. Well, that is a wrap. Got all the grass seed and straw put out, got all this covered up, good to go. Pond's starting to fill back up. It's already about 3 times as big as the puddle was yesterday when I got here. Lost a couple fish. I see a couple dead ones right there, but all in all, it all worked out pretty good. Still a lot of flow coming out. We got a chance of rain tonight, so that should work out pretty good. In and out.